forgetting the ever exciting first Grand Slam of the year. It's all about the Melbourne Classic in the Australian Open. Novak Djokovic safely through, but Andy Murray has been knocked out alongside Naomi Osaka. A lovely evening to you and many thanks for joining us on yet another exciting edition of your Evening Delight on radio. It is Extra Time Plus on your favorite dial, Rapid 96.5 FM, right here in the city of Umahia. My name is Eval Edu, and I'm the midfield maestro. I've got my wonderful looking colleagues right here with me in the studio. Let me start off with the captain of the side, Emma Explicit. Captain Emma Explicit, good evening to you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening, midfield maestro. Nice to be here.
All right, we've also got in the studio Pelumi King. Pelumi, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, we also have in the studio the incorruptible Sam himself, the man who speaks Igbo. I like him. Okay.
The only striker that scores own goal.
Yeah. Okay, the striker that scores own goal.
Yeah.
You take his team to relegation. Incorruptible Sam, good evening to you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening to you, Evale. Good to be here, actually.
All right, so we've got exciting gist making the rounds in the world of sport from the NPFL Match Week 18, where we've got results of matches played and results still tripping in as the Southwest Derby between Shooting Stars and Sporting Lagos. At the last time of checking, it was 2-2 draw right there, while Bayelsa United have gone 2 goals up against Bendel Insurance as well. So let's start off the show starting off with what's happening in boxing. Let's tell you that there's a breaking news coming in there as Great Britain's Anthony Joshua will face MMA fighter Francis Ngannou in a heavyweight contest on the 8th of March in Saudi Arabia. All right, Joshua, who's 34 years of age, had previously described the potential bout with Cameroon-born Ngannou as a gimmick fight. The 37-year-old former UFC champion only made his professional boxing debut in October when he knocked down Tyson Fury before losing a close decision. Well, Joshua and Ngannou will meet at a news conference on Monday evening in London. Former UFC heavyweight king Ngannou stunned the boxing world last year when he sent the undefeated Fury to the canvas with a left hook. Well, the 37-year-old Briton who recovered to win the 10-round bout by split decision will fight Valentina Usyk on the 17th of February for the right to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since 1999. Sam, let's talk about this one. Many call it a fight for... How do I call it? A fight for the jokers, right? That's what we termed that first fight between Tyson Fury and Ngannou. Yeah. But it turned out to be quite exciting because it seemed Tyson Fury didn't believe the power that Francis Ngannou wielded. Yeah. And he said he knew he would not get a decision because to have knocked him down once or twice in that fight and also rattled him with so many good punches, he thought by points the referee should be giving the decision. Yeah. But as far as he said, as far as he didn't get him knocked out, he knew he would not have that decision. But let's talk about this particular fight, Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. Do you think Joshua will now take this man seriously, having seen what he did against the almighty Tyson Fury?
Definitely. He's only someone that is very unserious person. That's the person that will not take this man very seriously. Yeah, UFC fighter, but he has it a little bit at least in boxing, and he showed that against Tyson Fury. For me, it was so unfortunate that even after the fight, people were actually congratulating Ngannou even more than Tyson Fury. So many people saw it as that the decision was actually a very, very wrong one. Some said that it was actually match fixing and all the rest. But I don't want to believe. I don't want to go that way. But Ngannou really showed that. It is in him, just like we say here. Is in him, and he showed that against Tyson Fury. Now against Anthony Joshua, if I'm Anthony Joshua, I prepared double time that than I would have prepared against this man, because he is going to even do more. I hope his spirit is not down. That okay, after all, look at everything I did against Tyson Fury, but I wasn't awarded, the winner. I wasn't given the opportunity to be the winner. But once he's not, affected, I think it will be a nice one for him to fight Anthony Joshua. It's going to be, fight for the Africans. Yeah, Anthony Joshua, in as much as we still call him British, but the African blood is in him, and this man is a Cameroonian. It's going to be a nice one. I can't wait for us to see the fight. Now, this time around, if Ngannou wins, let's declare him the winner.
And Anthony Joshua will say, is it my turn? You start declaring the right winner a winner when you're doing a UFC fight against a professional boxer. But let's talk about these. Am I explicit? Let's talk about this fight in terms of the power that Ngannou wields. If there's anything we knew AJ for, is that in recent fights, he has shown to possess a glass chin. He can't take punches.
Yeah.
And he can fight for long, meaning the more you drag the fight to distance, the more he gets tired.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a UFC fighter who is so used to grappling, exertion of energy, taking off punches, because if there's anything you have to do if you want to be an MMA or UFC fighter, is that you must have this never die spirit. Even when they want to kill you, you are bleeding with a broken bone, you still go on, right, and see if you can get the victory or finally stand as much as you can, for the time to pass. So Joshua must be wary of Francis Ngannou. He's got raw power, he's got resilience, and he's also got some good strength in the right and left hand.
Well, Joshua, being aware of all these threats from Ngannou, I believe that he and his promoter and trainer will actually be working on a way or a tactics to be able to defend well against Ngannou, because knowing his strength, as I'm talking about AJ now, knowing his strength that he can't fight for a very long time, he will be looking for a tactics to knock out Ngannou early enough, because if he doesn't do that early enough, Ngannou will want to stretch the fight, because that was actually the tactic he used against Tyson Fury. And okay, that's an update. That's a goal in the game between Cameroon and Guinea, and Guinea just scored against Cameroon, 1 goal to Guinea. Okay, that is it. So back to AJ and Ngannou. We still come back to that. Back to AJ.
Well, it looks as if the referee is consulting the video assistant referee room. And while the Guineans are still celebrating, the referee is saying, hold on a second, I'm hearing something in my ear. It seems we'll do a quick check on that one. But for now, the update is Guinea have taken the lead against Cameroon. The lead by 1 goal to nothing. But referee is saying, hold on a little bit. I'm hearing an information, a communication in my communication piece. Okay. That's a good ball.
That's a good ball. So I'm trying to see why.
That's a foul again.
Okay.
So what's really going on here?
Let's.
I don't think it was.
Okay, so are they looking for the foul?
Well,
the last
looking
one.
for the foul, and it might certainly go in their favor. It may go in their favor. Let's see.
Okay.
I think that's a 50-50 clash.
Yes, and
players.
this one too.
No, he lost that ball.
He lost the ball, so that's actually a goal. If they rule this out, I'll be talking about the African style of doing
it was
things.
A mistake by the defender.
Okay, it was kicked by the defender.
Yes, it was kicked by the defender.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on this one, but the VAR are taking a look at it. It looks as if there was a foul to the build-up.
Yeah.
But that pass was played by the Cameroonian defender, and he was under pressure from 2 Guinean attackers. And the Guineans are still celebrating and not minding what's happening. Let's see what the VAR says. But for now, the scoreboard says Guinea 1, Cameroon 0, until the VAR guys says otherwise. But I think that's a legitimate goal, because it was a 50-50 challenge that it would have gone either ways, depending on who came late or who came earlier. But Ngannou, okay, so the goal has been given.
The
Cameroon
goal stands.
is down by a goal. Bayo scoring in the 10th minute. That Bayo is looking suspicious. Looks like a Nigerian there. So Bayo have given the Guinean side the lead, and the lead by 1 goal to nothing. So you're saying Joshua should be wary.
Of the strength of Ngannou, and that is where Ngannou will be banking on. You know, everyone has to work more on his strength. So Ngannou will be banking on his strength and his ability to stretch the game based on what he has been doing in the UFC. So he wants to stretch the game just like he did against Tyson Fury. So AJ should be wary of the threats that Ngannou poses in this particular match, and try to, even if he's a knockout, he should try all he can, because in as much as we call him a British Nigerian, we Nigerians support AJ, and we want him to win every fight that he engages in. So this fight between AJ and Ngannou, AJ, be wary of the strength of Ngannou. You know, you don't have a strong chin, you don't have the strength to last you for up to 7 rounds and all that. So do all your assignments, and do all your assignments and try as much as you can to get a knockout against Ngannou.
All right, so the Cameroonians trail by a lone goal to the Guineans, and they had a chance of getting an equalizer there. Zambo and Guisa coming close, but just headed the ball wide the face of goal. But the earlier game played, we saw Senegal defeat Gambia by 3-0. So we're bringing the live update of the ongoing second game of Group C. At this point in time, in the 34th edition of the African Cup of Nations, 13 minutes on the clock is Cameroon 0, Guinea 1. And let's talk tennis on the show this hour. Let's head straight to the Australian Open, where Naomi Osaka's highly anticipated Grand Slam return at the Australian Open ended in narrow first round defeat by Francis Caroline Garcia. Two-time champion Osaka at her first major since the US Open in September 2022 after giving birth last year, and ended 6-4, 7-6 loss to the 16th-seeded Japanese. Meanwhile, US Open champion Coco Gauff cruised through thanks to a pep talk. The 19-year-old American, who won her maiden Grand Slam title at the US Open in September last year, won 6-3, 6-love against Slovakia's Anna Karolina Smildolova. And Wimbledon champion and 7th-seeded Marketa Vondrousova suffered a shock exit on day 2 at Melbourne Park as well. For Naomi Osaka, she is frustrated for not doing better on her return. But Pelomi, it's really not easy when you're returning as a mother. You've also stayed over a year without playing active tennis, and you're coming to the biggest stage of tennis in a Grand Slam and hoping to get a result. Caroline Garcia, the French international, is really no pushover as well when you talk about tennis players in the WTA. So I'm not surprised that Naomi Osaka was shown the exit door as early as the first round of trying.
There's one thing about facing favorites in the competition. I was say all teams, all people, all the individuals, they bring their A game. You understand? In the case of Naomi Osaka, you could see that the Caroline brought her A game and she was able to defeat her. And coming again from a long year out, becoming a mother, passing through labor, and again she had to take a break from a mental health challenge. And in her own statement, she said that she did the best she could possibly do. You know, coming back and facing the same competition and everything was always going to be hard. But I commend her for coming back, and I hope that within the next month or within the next years, in the next competition, she comes back to her very best that we know her for.
All right, coming back to our very best that we know her for, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Meanwhile, we have Andy Murray saying goodbye to the Australian Open in the first round. He says it seems he has played his last because injury has not been his friend for the last 3 or 4 seasons. But let's look at results of games played in the Australian Open men's singles. Sebastian Koda got a 6-1, 6-4, 2-6, 4-6, 6-2 victory over Vit Kopriva. Meanwhile, Lorenzo Musetti dumped out Benjamin Bonzi, and Daniel Medvedev also got a victory against Terence Atmane, who also retired. Ben Shelton defeated Roberto Batista Agot 6-2, 7-6, 7-5 in straight sets, while Alejandro Davidovich Fokina defeated Constance Lestienne 6-4, 6-4, 7-6. Alexei Popyrin defeated Mark Polmar 6-3, 7-6, 6-2, and so will face Novak Djokovic in the next round, while Andrea Manarino saw Stanislav Wawrinka 6-4, 36, 5-7, 6-3, 6-love, and Stefanos Tsitsipas also swept past Zizou Beggs. Karen Kachanov, Jordan Thompson, Alexander Kovacevic, and Thomas Echeverry, and Gael Monfils and Ugo Humbert are the other players, and Alex de Minaur, who have qualified to the next round of the Australian Open in the men's play. Well, let's talk about this one, Sam. Not much of upset in the men's play, apart from Andy Murray, who we knew was struggling with so many injury worries. He was beaten by Thomas Echeverry in straight sets, 6-4, 6-2, 6-2, and there comes the end of his Australian Open campaign. He says it seems this will be his last as far as tennis is concerned. When you turn back and look at the fact that this guy has gotten 3 Grand Slam to his name, 2 Wimbledon, 1 US Open, 2 Olympic singles back to back in 2012 and in 2016 in Rio, he defended his title. You just imagine, and he had lost in Australia about 5 times, not winning in Australia. Novak Djokovic beating him in all those finals. You imagine what would have been for Andy Murray if he had stayed fit and competing with the likes of Novak, Rafa, and Roger Federer.
Definitely, and at this point right now, we want to look at it. Say, well, definitely there is a possibility. I don't know the possibility of him, playing another Australian Open. I think calling it quit in as much as it's not easy. I think Serena Williams in the female category tried as much as possible. Even when I was like, okay, why not retire? But she was like, no, she will keep pushing. I think that's what Andy Murray is doing now, and this is for me a humbling. Losing against a 30th seeded Thomas Martin, 6'4", 6'2", 6'2", is a humbling, and this is something that even before the fight, he didn't believe this one. Like I said here, I think it should just be the time for Andy Murray to start preparing life after today. Just call it quits. Yes, I know it's difficult, but come on, you can end it now. Australia Open for me is okay. He's gone this year. Nothing like Australia Open for him, but I don't know. Like I said, it's difficult, but come on, Andy Murray can gradually start ending it. He has won it all. His problem is just there, disturbing him, and I think if you quit, just give yourself a small time and call it quit.
I think one thing he said I don't think it's shocking because Andy Murray has actually lost form. He has battled with injuries, he has battled with form, he has battled with, I think he had personal problems too. So it's kind of on the level of the lower seeded or the lesser seeded tennis players. So I just think that I don't think he should quit. I think he should continue trying. Like he may have one more Grand Slam in him. I remember
until everybody beat him.
Until everybody beat him.
If he can
and
remember,
he leaves shape with so much shame.
No, if he can, was it not TM or the South African tennis non-tennis player? I kept on trying.
Anderson.
Yes,
Kevin Anderson,
yes,
yeah.
Till he eventually won a Grand Slam. You never know the story that's planned for you. I remember Naomi Osaka too, beating Serena Williams in US Open final. Who would have thought that? So it starts from somewhere. So I just think that his level can also improve and he can reach the highest. So he shouldn't quit. I enjoy it.
Osaka beating Serena Williams was because, like I mentioned, her Serena Williams, even she knew that it was okay. It was just over.
That was
but stepping off or just ending it was her problem.
Serena Williams was still on form now. Naomi Osaka beat her in US Open final.
In her maiden Grand Slam, yes. Right? In her maiden Grand Slam.
Grand Slam.
During that period, yes. we had.
That was not the Serena we used to watch.
Serena was still out on form. She had won like two
and
of the
Osaka was then active.
No, Osaka, that was a maiden Grand Slam.
That was a maiden Grand Slam title.
Because she was active. Now, this man and the Murray we are talking about, the more he wants to continue, the more they will beat him. Then he will decide to go shamelessly.
And don't forget that Andy Murray has he did a hip resurfacing surgery.
Problem
There's a metal in his hip.
Just go home.
There's a metal in his hip, right? And if you want to talk about him staying, Anderson didn't win a Grand Slam though. He was just the best ranked African player.
Yeah,
No. The South African didn't win a Grand Slam. In fact, we are still hoping that what's her name again? The Tunisian now, Ons Jabeur, will be the first African
to win the first Grand Slam.
A Grand Slam, be it men or women. So we are hoping that happens. Well, for Serena Williams, she gave so many players their maiden Grand Slam title, from Angelique Kerber to Simona Halep,
after her
to Naomi Osaka. So almost 3 players used Serena Williams to win their maiden Grand Slam, and that would have been Serena Williams equaling Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slam.
Yes, and that was what she was fighting for.
But
she was fighting for the 24th Grand Slam.
After every final, she will cry.
And she will cry.
What do you want us to do?
And I'm like, go and rest.
Okay.
And Andy Murray, please go and rest. You no longer get your West. Please go and rest.
Okay, Andy Murray, you're listening to the guys in the studio. They say you should take a leave. Please take a bow.
You made your mark.
You have done well.
I want you to stay.
Please, you have done well.
He has made his mark.
Okay, well, let's take a look at what's happening as far as football is concerned. The MPFL result of matches played today. Just now, a few games have been decided already. Let's give you those games that have been played. And we have Bayelsa United beating Bendel Insurance by 2-0. Katsina United beating Remo Stars by 2-0 as well. Then we also have Lobby Stars being held to a 1-0 draw by Kano Pillars. And finally, Sporting Lagos 2, Shooting Stars 2. But before then, we had games over the weekend and some fantastic reactions as well to follow. One of the games that really took our minds over the weekend was the game between Abia Warriors and Doma United. It ended 3-0 in favor of the home team, Abia Warriors. And coach of the Doma United side, Akinade Onigbinde, was very furious with the officiating. Well, let's take a listen to the post-match reaction then, where he also listened to Erasmus Onu, who also countered his reaction. Stay with us.
Ago. I can't claim any fatigue. We left home since 4 days ago. I'm here 2 days ago. Are you getting it? 2 days on the road. We slept where everybody okay. The only issue for me is that look at the first half. Look at the way we absorb the pressure. For God's sake, just on almost 42 minutes, you now awarded dubious penalty. For God's sake. For God's sake. Actually, they didn't. What really happened is that penalty it weak the boys. It immediately weak them. They affect them, boy. And I said no, boys, let's pick up. And we pick up. Look at the second goal. Very clean goal. Look at the third goal. Ambo, for God's sake, what are we doing in Nigeria here in Nigeria with Nigeria football?
Well, a frustrated Akinade Onigbinde saying what's happening. First goal, dubious penalty. Third goal, handball. Must we pay referees to win matches? So were his words. Well, but Coach Erasmus Onu had an answer for him. Let's take a listen to the Abia Warriors gaffer.
Is there anything like bad officiating? It was a penalty, it's a clean one. Maybe after this time I'll post it for everybody to see. It's a clean penalty. Is the penalty the problem? Has he played any ball to our goalkeeper? Have goalkeeper got any ball from them? So they did not make any rules. So what is he complaining about?
All right, so that's it. Both gaffer coming at each other. And Akinade Onigbinde is saying dubious penalty, handball for the third goal. But again, we saw something like that. At least the handball for the third goal. But the referee didn't indicate. She didn't think it was a problem.
Yeah.
And it goes to. But again, we had a second goal that was cleanly scored.
Yeah. Doma United, Onigbinde, he actually confirmed that the second goal was a clean goal, which we saw the game together at the stadium. The third goal, I have an issue with it because when that goal was scored, the referee had to look at her AR1 to confirm before she could make any move. But the AR1 didn't make any move. There was nothing so she didn't have an option than to decide that it was a goal. So meaning that even the referee wasn't too sure. But since there was no confirmation of her thoughts, she had to continue with what was already on ground by giving the third goal. I didn't actually see the penalty. That's what I'm actually trying to check out to know if it was actually a penalty. But what I'm saying is, in that game, we saw some little poor officiating and we saw some things that didn't go down well with us in that game. In as much as we are fans of Abia Warriors and we want Abia Warriors to win, we actually want them to win cleanly. I don't really know if anybody was paid according to what Onigbinde was saying. I don't know if anybody was
just
paid.
An exaggeration.
Yes, but if there's anything like that still in Nigerian football, I think it is dragging us back. This is not what we're supposed to be talking about at this point in our league. It is very shameful that a coach will lose a game and is thinking that the officials were paid to do whatever it is for the home team to win. But for me, it wasn't an exciting game. Seriously, it wasn't an exciting game.
All right, not an exciting game, but let's focus on today's games though. We had a few results of matches played today. Sporting Lagos struggling, now find themselves in the relegations, and the Tech Boys have not shown us that brilliance in preseason where they won the Nigeria Super 8 and also the first 5 or 6 matches of the season where they were high flying both home and away. These days, they have gone almost 6 or 7 games without a win, and they were held at home by Shooting Stars to a 2-2 draw. Remo Stars couldn't capitalize on Lobby Stars' 1-0 draw against Kano Pillars as we're beaten in Katsina by 2-0. Let me hear your thoughts, Incorruptible Sam. Shocking result you want to say from the NPFL today?
Yeah, the only shocking result there is the Bayelsa United getting the better of Bendel Insurance. I don't know how that happened.
How they scored?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how that one happened. Not because they are occupying the the last position there, but Bendel Insurance, I know them to be a very good side. But Bayelsa United, well, I hope the coach of this Bendel Insurance side will not come out to sound like Onibinde, the away team, coach. That's the only shocking result. But Katsina United getting the better of Remo Stars. Well, I don't know why you would want to play very good, beautiful football at home. Then when you go away from home, you become so ordinary. I think that is one thing that some teams should just know. I think I was listening to a manager the other day. He was like, okay, we had in mind while traveling, we just went there. At least we'll play a draw. When you have that mentality, I think that is really what is happening. I hope this. I just believe that was not the mentality that these Remo Stars, players had in mind when they were traveling. Katsina United capitalized on that 2-0. For me, it was a beautiful one. But then Lobi Stars Kano Pillars, 1-1. That's more like two things happening. Then when it comes to Sporting Lagos, I think Sporting Lagos is just like the Burnley of the Premier League. Burnley defeated every team there in the Championship last season, and in England. Coming to the Premier League, I expected them to at least continue from there, but no, it didn't happen. So they are struggling right now. Sporting Lagos were the first time, not that this is the only first time they will come into the Premier League, but this is the first time they will be qualifying. So they are now facing the heat. When the season started, they were like, okay, we can do it. But now, the whole thing is now changing. I hope they will survive it and not go back to the NNL at the end of the season. The only shocking result today, Bayelsa United getting the better of Bendel. They need to explain to me what happened.
Okay, so Bayelsa United without Robert Mizo, but there was no problem because they got 2 goals from other players who have stepped up in the absence of the striker. They are since signed for Alali Benghazi. A chance for Cameroon there, but well marshaled and blocked by the Guinean defense, and the Cameroonians still trail by a lone goal. 29 minutes on the clock. Guinea 1, Cameroon 0 in the second game of the day in the ongoing African Cup of Nations. And let's talk about the Nations Cup in full as we head straight down to the camp of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, where it was action aplenty yesterday in the ongoing African Cup of Nations.
I know a place where the land is greener and diversity brings beauty, just like the rainbow. It's hard to replace such a good feeling when the news of unity fills the air while the wind blows.
Super Eagles, no tension, you are winning by the grace of God. You shall win, you shall win, you shall win. Sawa, 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 sawa.
One spirit, one nation, on the go, indivisible, indestructible. Super Eagles, your victory, Papa God. I say, don't sign them, don't stand back, just go out there, grab on. Oh yeah, I've been one of the Godfather. Super Eagles, oh yo yo, handle it, handle it, handle it, handle it, go, go.
Such a good feeling when the news of unity fills the air while the wind blows.
Super Eagles, no tension.
Well, I doubt if there's no tension in the camp of the Super Eagles right now, because the Eagles were held to a 1-0 draw by Equatorial Guinea in their first outing of the ongoing African Cup of Nations. Victor Osimhen with a goal, but Nigeria with just a point in the bag. And what did the coach say after the game? He says, God gives and God takes, and God gave us 1 point. All right, and that was the game yesterday. We had the likes of Alex Iwobi, Moses Saima, and their wings were clipped. Victor Osimhen, the biggest culprit, missing goals are plenty. And one last chance that came in the dying stages, Osimhen couldn't beat Jesus Owonu Jesus took the wheels, for the Equatorial Guinea side. But let's talk about this game. My explicit. It was a game we came into with confidence of winning. That the Equatorial Guinea side ranked at least 103 in terms of the rankings, but it wasn't to be. Yesterday, the Eagles couldn't fly.
Well, should I say I wasn't surprised that the Eagles couldn't fly. Just that I was just a bit shocked that we were given the wings to fly, but we refused to fly. How can we boast of the costliest team in Africa and we cannot win an Equatorial Guinea team? Like, what are we doing? Yesterday I was so mad at Victor Osimhen. Maybe he was playing with pressure of being the African Player of the Year and having the workload of the team to score the goals on him. He had a lot of chances, that he had a lot of one-on-ones that on a good day Victor Osimhen is not expected to miss such goals. Now there were also times when he was supposed to just square the ball to your teammates. Like 2 or 3 occasions where you had 2 teammates running to an empty space, just drop the ball for them and we have a goal. But Victor Osimhen was in fact the whole team in the front line of the Super Eagles yesterday were so selfish that if I were to be Jose Pesero, I would get into the dressing room with a can and I'll make sure I flog all of them, because you can't be so selfish in a game. You're supposed.
Okay. The less you say, the better for us on the show before you lose your cool and attack me here on this other side of the microphone. But again, let's do a post-mortem on the game, right? Let's now pick the department and pick who did not do what and who did what, right?
Okay.
Pelumi, let's start with the goalkeeper. We were shocked to see Stanley Nwabali in goal ahead of Francis Ozor. Remember, we said it seems the goalkeeper position for Nigeria was covered by the blood of Jesus. Then the rest, we knew their names, right? But yesterday we were shocked. Pesero did something bold when we saw South Africa-based Stanley Nwabali. What do you think of his performance? Do you think he gave a good account of himself, or you think he wasn't tested?
I think he wasn't tested enough, but the ones that he was tested by his area
prowess,
his area prowess, his handling of the ball. It was okay. Although it was not really tested, that's just the thing, and Uzo has been more tested than him. So now he's going to start the second game. He's going to face a much tougher test, and I just hope that he performs to the ability that Pesero expects of him.
All right, and for the goalkeeper, maybe a pass mark for him. He wasn't really tested, but I think he commanded confidence. He exuded confidence. And also commanded his back line quite well. Came off his line quite early to do a keeper sweeper job. Sometimes when they were through passes,
area handling was okay.
Was okay. Okay. There was the position of the defensive midfielder who will replace Wilfred Ndidi. We had a certain Alassane Yusuf coming to the team. Late call up though. When he started, it was a shocker for many Nigerians who thought, for a man you didn't call. Why are you starting a game for us? But he turned out to be our best player thus far before he was injured. Sam, do you think he covered himself in glory enough? And do you think we will sorely miss him because he was injured at some point and stretched off the field?
That's an issue right now that we are having. Okay, let me just give him kudos. Hassan Yusuf, our eyes were on him. He noticed he was actually the Tupac of the Super Eagles, in as much as the goalkeeper Nwabali also was there. I think he did well. He did well because at that point now, knowing the shoe you are coming to, wear the shoe of Wilfred Ndidi. Yeah, because they mentioned you as someone that is coming to replace Wilfred Ndidi, so it was going to be a very one, and he did wonderfully well. The only issue we had Onyeka. So many people has actually been criticizing him. What was he actually doing there? But kudos to Hassan Yusuf. Maybe because of the workload, maybe because of the stress he actually gave upon himself, really gave him the injury. But kudos to him. He didn't disappoint. We didn't miss much of Wilfred Ndidi because Hassan Yusuf was there.
But so what really went wrong for the Eagles yesterday? Because I feel there were a few players who didn't really click into gear or were playing at 60%. Zaidu Sanusi was poor for me yesterday. And we had an Alex Iwobi who didn't really get to the end of things as well. Moses Simon was off color as well, and Frank Onyeka was neither here nor there. So were all these coaches' problem or the players' inability to do what they know how to do best?
I don't exactly know why Jose Pesero always starts Moses Simon when it is clear that Simon is not on form. I would rather have anybody in the team than Moses Simon. And Iwobi, I was telling the person I was watching the game with that it will be only performed from Fulham. If it performs the same way it performed in Nigeria yesterday at Fulham, it will chop. Let me permit me to speak pidgin. It will chop bench. I'm serious, because there's no way Marco Silva would take that kind of performance from him. I don't know the gap in performing the same way you do for your club here, because it barely shows passion for the team, and his performance was awful. Moses Simon, on the other hand, I'll blame the coach for starting him, because it is clear that the AFCON magic that he had in the last competition is clearly gone. He's clearly out of form. He missed a penalty in a home defeat before in the warm-up game, and he started him again. I don't know. We have a clueless coach that starts players that are obviously clueless.
All right, in terms of the passion of the team, possibly we need to take a listen to William Troost-Ekong, who did speak to the media. He was one of the few people we could get interviews from yesterday. He did speak about the attitude of the players, if they really understood what they came here to do, because Nigeria's down to the passion of the players, who are now almost 99.9% foreign based. So take a listen to William Troost-Ekong, who did say that the attitude of the team was good.
No, I don't think that's. I think we've spoken about it so much. We've got Kenneth with us, we've got Musa with us, who both won the AFCON. They've told us exactly how that journey was. Some of the guys like myself who were there in 2019 also explained exactly how it was to get to the semi-final that time and take the bronze. But you know, it's not always in football that if you want something that you get it. You know, the other team also, we have to respect them. They had a game plan and it worked for them. And like I said, the one thing that we take away that's positive is that we created so many chances. I think if we didn't have that, then we would have had a problem. And they had maybe 2 chances and they scored 1. I think maybe we had 7 or
Well, that was Equatorial Guinea's first shot and only shot on target, and they got it in the back of the net. Iban Edu scoring a nice placement that went beyond goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali goal, but Nigeria had about 7 shots on target and scored just 1 goal from a possibly 6 or 7 goals at the end of the day. But let's hear from you on the show. What do you think? What do you make of Eagles' performance yesterday? And what are our hopes heading into the game against Cote d'Ivoire? 0916 0333 965 or 0916 000965. Let's get to hear from you on the show this hour. 0916 000965 or 0916 0333 965 as well. Those are the numbers to drop your WhatsApp and your calls through, and we'll take your reaction during the course of the show. Nigeria's next game comes up on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and that will be a game against Ivory Coast. That game is billed for 6 p.m. Nigerian time. That's a very tough clash against the host nation. We were able to get all 3 points in their first game against Guinea-Bissau. They got a comfortable 2-0 victory in the opening game. And yesterday we had some shockers as well in the competition. Ghana were 1-2 losers to Cape Verde. And we also had Egypt drawing 2-2 to Cape Verde. What? Is this supposed to be the tournament of the underdogs, or what are we seeing here?
I think I was more shocked by
Egypt, Mozambique. Well, it is not a season for the underdogs. I think it is a reality check for the big boys in the tournament, because looking at teams like Ghana, Nigeria, and Egypt actually dropping points on their first game, I think that will lighten them on what they are here to do. Because if you look at the way Nigeria drew their game yesterday, and Egypt were almost losers. They scored 90 plus minutes. That was when Mohamed Salah had to score from the spot. And the shocker for me was Cape Verde winning Ghana in that game. Well, the underdogs, they have actually given these big boys a reason to wake up from their slumber, and I believe that was why Senegal had to take it very serious earlier today during their own match. So they had to win, because they know that these other teams have been given their own reality check, and any joke, you lose points.
I think the shocker too for me was Cape Verde Ghana. Something funny occurred. I think Ghanaians were banned to Nigeria. That could you draw against them Equatorial Guinea only to concede the last minute goal to lose to a Cape Verde team that has lost many of its stars and is currently on the lower rung. And I think Egypt's game was also so shocking. 2 goals in 2 minutes to do a comeback after Egypt has scored in the 4th minute. It was really surprising. But thank God for Mohamed Salah continuing his club form for his country, and let's see a point, and Egypt are still in the pole position to qualify to the round of 16.
All right, phone lines still wide open. 09160333965. That doubles the WhatsApp and call line as well. You can also use the other line 0916000965. The lines are up and running. Put those calls through. Let's hear your thoughts on the Super Eagles' performance. Where do you think we got it wrong? From the coaches to the players, do you think they can do it again? Because Nigeria are hinging on that slogan, let's do it again. A 4th African Cup of Nations. Many are saying in 2013, we did lose our first game, but came back. We did draw our first game, yes, against Burkina Faso 1-1, but came back to get 2 other victories and qualify and finally go ahead to win the tournament. Do you think history will repeat itself right there in Cote d'Ivoire? 0916-0333965 or 0916-0000965. When we'll have a game currently running. Okay, let's go back to the phone lines. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome. Let's hear from you. Okay, let's hear from you. Go ahead.
I'm very disappointed with the passport. That's very easy for Nigeria to win that because but they're not yet to represent us. They are just yet to just play. They're not in Nigeria. For these boys at this point, they are not yet to represent Nigeria. These people are telling that they want a match. They want a match.
Okay.
Second match, they are still showing us that they are the African champions. Nigeria are not able to talk with these players because we don't have a good league. I think it's not about that. They can have won us. They could have won us.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for your thoughts. We're struggling to hear you, but we realize that you see the boys are not playing with so much passion. They're not representing us well enough. Right there in Cote d'Ivoire. Don't worry, the lines are open. 0916-000333965 or 0916-0000965. Put those calls through. Let's get to hear from you on the show and look at the chances of the Eagles qualifying out of that group. Meanwhile, many are saying that the coach is clueless. I don't know what your thoughts are, Sam. What do you think about the coach himself? Because it looks as if he's not getting his act right. But I thought, on hindsight, looking at the game, I'm leaving it at the player's foot. What was Zaidu Sanusi doing? He should have scored easily 2 goals for Nigeria. There was a tap-in he had in the first half. Then there was one miscue, as if he was about to pass and shoot, that went to the keeper's foot. Be decisive. Victor Osimhen, 2 chances as well that were glaring. Be decisive. To me, I felt that yesterday, more of the players letting the coach down than the coach letting Nigerians down.
Definitely, you just summarize it there, and even it got to the point where when we were actually preparing for this, I said, "See, let it get to the point where players will be so professional, just like we in the studio. We know we have a head of program here, so we don't need the head of program to tell us, okay, time for sports. Okay, come inside the studio here to stand and watch us do sports. It's rapid sports, and we are here." The sports presenter. So that is it. When it gets to the point when players should just do their stuff as professionals, they should do it. Just like missing the chances now. Are you going to blame Jose Peseiro? Did Jose Peseiro tell Victor Osimhen to miss chances and just score 1? The answer is no. And Zaidu Sanusi, Onyeka, those ones that failed to perform, I don't want to believe also the coach, must have contributed to that. He made the right selections when it comes to, inviting players, even the ones that got injured. he made the right choice of replacing them. The only Moses Simon, I know Moses Simon to be a dribbler. I don't even see him as one professional footballer like that. That's just it. Moses Simon is one dribbler that would dribble and get me annoyed. But you can't blame Jose Peseiro for inviting him. Sometimes just dribble and give the ball out. And which other player again? I think that's why I would prefer, if not that Onyekuru is on and off, I would have preferred Onyekuru sometimes to be around, because he's one man that is direct when he gets the ball. Unlike Moses, I have an issue with, maybe a personal issue with Moses Simon. So the player should have just played their game, won the match. The only issue I have with Jose Peseiro now is the statement, God gives and God takes. I don't understand what is annoying.
Well, that's a typical Nigerian statement.
That is dirty. Now,
all right,
that thing is dirty for me to hear something like that.
All right, we have our first red card of the competition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and it goes to a Guinean player.
Okay.
Fransao Kamano, the captain of the side, has been shown a red card. An intervention by the VAR.
Is he crying?
He's crying because there's a lot at stake now. They are leading Cameroon by a lone goal close to halftime. Just allow him go with that ball. You go back to the dressing room and you come back stronger. That was in the center of the pitch.
Yeah.
There was no threat whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that tackle behind the heels, just matching the ankle of the Cameroonian player.
That was not what he intended to do, actually.
Well, there was intent. If you look at it, he could have allowed him go.
He could have allowed him go, but that was not his intent. The calculation was wrong, actually.
I don't think
the calculations was very wrong.
Yes.
But for me, it's a red card. For the coach, for the ref, it's a red card. He's gone. Mm-hmm. Let's see how they are able to maneuver the next 45 minutes, because we're almost done with the first half. But for Jose Peseiro, let me just pick up from where Sam stopped. How can you, as a coach, tell us God gives?
That's
God,
annoying.
is it God that is playing the football?
The God give it and the God take it.
No.
That's
now when person died, they talk on for
that's how
Nigeria.
they use that kind of statement. How can you be telling us God gives? God, where did he hear that? Maybe he was listening to a funeral service.
And
he
picked it
heard
up.
God gives, God, and he doesn't know where to use it. And he's telling God gives 3 points. What a shame! What a shame! And I would say the players let the coach down yesterday. For me, it was just the fault of the players. They were not passionate enough.
All right, so the players couldn't deliver on the day and let the coach down. And we have Cameroon still finding an equalizer just before halftime. 3 minutes of added time on the clock, and they have a chance to put one in for a free kick close to the vital area of their opponents. Can they put in a vital cross in and get that equalizer just at the nick of halftime and cause a heartache for 10-man Guinea and really set up a roller coaster second 45 minutes of play for us? Meanwhile, just before we leave today on the show, let's look at the transfer market. Yesterday, surprising to see Timo Werner running up and down the pitch for Tottenham Hotspur
with the white jersey
of Tottenham, and the man also got involved because he provided the assist for the second goal, who was the equalizer for Christian Bentancur of Tottenham Hotspur. And Eric Dier has gone to Bayern Munich as well. The likes of Arsenal yet to do a major signing, and we hear that Arsenal and Chelsea are scouting Sporting Lisbon 24-year-old Ivory Coast defender Ousmane Diomande, who is currently at the African Cup of Nations as we speak right now. We watched him play in the opening game, and the man was really massive for the Ivorians. But the transfer market is yet to bubble into life. What's happening?
Yeah, very slow start. Normally, that's how the winter transfer market always is. It just starts slowly, and maybe on the last 2 days, you see rapid rush when it comes to the buys. Well, Arsenal, you mentioned them, so let me talk about them. They are one team that I know that they just know how to scout for everybody. I also saw in the news they are scouting for Karim Benzema. And one thing I've noticed about the recent transfer market is that Arsenal and Chelsea are scouting for almost the same player. Any player Arsenal is scouting for, Chelsea will go for it. Any player Chelsea is going for, Arsenal will go for the player. So I don't really know what these two teams do it, but I'm not expecting anything huge from Arsenal. Timo Werner, nice game he had yesterday. Very good one for him. And I expect the transfer market to bubble up, say in the next 10 days.
And Sam, there's something happening. It's as if the guys in the UAE, in the Middle East, who went there for, because we went there for money.
Yeah.
They say no, they went there for passion and the game. The guys are realizing that now that the weather and the culture and the stadium being empty is a problem. They want to come back to Europe. Benzema as well as
Jordan Henderson.
Jordan Henderson,
Yeah.
and some other players of European descent who just transferred, to go gala the big box. Are already saying, we don't like this place, so
Yeah.
we don't like this place.
culture
so.
don't suit
But what's
us.
happening? The culture. It's not that you know about the culture. The culture was always there.
Maybe they were thinking the rules would be bent for them.
Well, just like
They were
Ronaldo.
thinking the money will shield them.
I think Ronaldo at some point something really went in his favor when he signed. I think they allowed him do something, but going to Saudi Arabia for me is not easy. It's not easy, especially when you are when you like being in the street after the match. You have fun. No, there they do things. I read the story and I just smiled. Well, let's see the club that will bring them back to Europe. That's the issue now. Which of these clubs? Madrid, are they going for back to get Karim Benzema? They are yet to get that wonderful striker, but they are looking for Victor Osimhen and other players. So getting him back might be issue. If Real Madrid doesn't go for Karim Benzema, which club will get for him? Then talking about Henderson, maybe a club at all. You'll be surprised that Liverpool will even want to give him another chance.
I think Crystal Palace are going for him.
Or maybe he goes to Italy or something. But Karim Benzema, I think he'll be having issue because I doubt unless a club from France will come calling.
From what I saw on the news, I think it is Manchester United that are looking to bring a transfer rumor. Anyways, that Manchester United are looking to bring Karim Benzema on a 6-month loan, and I think for Jordan Henderson, Ajax and Juventus are the teams interested. I even saw a report that Juve are actually exploring the possibility of a 6-month loan too before they decide whether to sign him on a permanent or not. So basically, I think. But then I would advise Benzema not to go to Manchester United if he doesn't want the legacy to be destroyed. But for Jordan Henderson, he's planned to make Euros and the rest, and I just feel that he should go if he's not feeling comfortable. But for Benzema, stay where you are.
All right, and the transfer market is getting quite interesting at this point in time. Arsenal, they are yet to do any major buys. Ivan Toney is the man that they could be going for, and they say they could be paying as much as £100 million to get that
Ivan
man.
Toney.
And Victor Osimhen. That should be summer things and not January. Well, time check is about 5 minutes for top of the hour, 7 p.m. where we'll have the news. And so I want to thank the guys for their time on the show. Many thanks, Incorruptible Sam. Many thanks, Pelomi King. And many thanks, Emi Explicit, for your time on the show. Make a return here tomorrow as early as 7:30 a.m.
That's right.
for Rush Hour Sports on your favorite dial, Rapid 96.5 FM. Do have yourself a lovely, lovely evening. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.